Good morning, Chicago Cubs fans. We are back with today's edition of Cubs Daily. My name is Steven Ryan. The Cubs make it official. Alex Bregman joining the club. We all knew this information Saturday, but, they got to finalize the details, and the social media makes the announcement. The even social media team dropped a fire kind of call-out video to the fans, which is awesome. I love that. We're going to talk about some Matt Shaw rumors that we've been hearing. And then, big news in the AL. The Red Sox are going to get Ranger Suarez. They're going to be signing him to a 5-year deal. We're going to talk about that impact because it can impact the Cubs in this situation, ladies and gentlemen. So let's get into it right away. Alex Bregman is going to be a Chicago Cub. We all knew that, right? But today it was officially announced on the Cubs social media page. And again, very, very excited to have Alex Bregman as a part of this squad. He is the big thump in the lineup that the Cubs needed. And, again, across multiple different platforms, people have mixed reviews about, Alex Bregman and his impact on this Chicago Cubs team. But, ladies and gentlemen, there he is, the man himself, Alex Bregman. You see it right there, right? 2-time World Series champion, 3-time MLB All-Star, Gold Glove winner a couple seasons ago, and then the Silver Slugger Award in 2019. And it's awesome. It's awesome to have him here. He's going to make such a profound impact. And just kind of reading the tea leaves on everything going on with Alex Bregman, and, just kind of who the Cubs wanted to kind of form this identity with, right? Like, Kyle Tucker might be the better player, right? Might have some better numbers, but Alex Bregman and Jose Altuve are more the heart and soul of those Houston Astros teams. Now, Tucker did only get the one World Series. He did well in that World Series run, but Alex Bregman, Jose Altuve, they were winning for a long time. They went to 7 straight ALCSs, which is just crazy to think about. And, we can all talk about the cheating or whatever, but they cheated the one season. Baseball crackdown after that. Alex Bregman still produced at a very, very high level. The Houston Astros produced at a very, very high level. And they were really good, and he was a focal point of that. And I think I love Matt Shaw's development so far. Obviously, it was his rookie year, so you can't really judge too much of it, but sometimes you just have a chance to upgrade, and you have to take it. And Alex Bregman provides that immediately, right? He's going to be a good 270 to 280 hitter. Hopefully, the power goes up a little bit. He had 18 home runs last year. I've heard mixed reviews as well as his profiling as a hitter at Wrigley Field. Again, I personally, ladies and gentlemen, like to think you can look at the numbers. The numbers tell a story. They don't tell the whole story, in my opinion. And so I try not to look too deep into it. But how Wrigley works, right? It's kind of like out, and then it's kind of like out, and then it kind of curves in a little bit. So I understand the frustration of if he's a really dead pull hitter, it's a little bit farther to hit home runs. Alex Bregman's just a good baseball player, and he's a good hitter in general, so I'm just really not concerned. And honestly, if he just hits more line drives, I think the team would have significantly more success. Obviously, you got to hit home runs, but just good, solid contact, hitting the ball. I think he's going to provide a lot of flexibility to this lineup in offensive terms. He's just a really, really good player, and excited to have him. He's also going to be donning the number 3 since Nico Hoerner has number 2. So, obviously, the impact of Alex Bregman does pose a lot of questions, right? Are the Cubs going to trade Nico Hoerner? Are they going to trade Matt Shaw? Will they? That's the question, right? And as it says right now, I don't think they should. I think we should stay and put. I would love to see Matt Shaw kind of develop in that super utility role. Again, that's kind of what made that 2016 team so special. Excuse my hair, but that Javi Baez, the 2019 Silver Slugger Award winner, a Gold Glover. I think he's a Gold Glover. Javi Baez has to be a Gold Glover, right? Or just the plays he made it just seem like he was an unbelievable, Okay, he's won the Gold Glove. So, an LCS MVP. He was a super utility player on that Cubs team, and that's just such a strong role, right? When a guy needed a day off, you can just throw him in there. right? When Dansby needs a day off, Nico could step over, Matt Shaw can go to second, or Bregman DHs and Shaw can play third defensively. So just provides a lot of flexibility. And Bruce Levine said, go get your outfielder's glove. Let's see if you could play some of the corner positions. Just provide that value to this team. But obviously after that article, that hit piece that Keith Law dropped yesterday, there's just more questions naturally as if the Cubs are going to shade, who provides more value, right? Nico Hoerner on the 1-year deal or Matt Shaw with 6 years of control? That is a great question. I haven't heard too many specific rumors either, like about player specifics, but I don't think the Cubs are going to be trading either of these guys. But again, Matt Shaw's name is just being tossed out there gently in conversations amongst people worldwide. Nothing major is happening in that sense, but it's just like a natural byproduct of that article, because as much as that article wasn't true, people still read it, and there are some people who probably agreed with it. So either way, Matt Shaw, I'm imagining he's going to be staying put, but again, the Cubs got to do their due diligence, right? They got to see what everyone is worth. So the Red Sox are inking pitcher Ranger Suarez to a 5-year, $130 million deal. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is exactly what the Red Sox needed. They needed to bolster their rotation just a little bit. They have a lot of potential in the minor leagues, but definitely wanted to bolster their starting rotation, especially given in the offseason, right? They already got Garrett Crochet a couple seasons ago. And then they acquired Sonny Gray, Brian Bello, and others. And then now, they added Wilson Contreras. They did lose Bregman, but now they're looking to add another bat to that, that fix. And, I'm just saying, I read Twitter. It does not mean all too much, but Ranger Suarez expands the depth of the Red Sox rotation, right? So that kind of makes some of their minor league pitching prospects, who people are really, really heavy on. I think their names like Early and Connolly, I think are the two guys that they're talking about. Peyton Connolly or something. I don't know their names specifically. But, those guys might be more flexible and available within trades, per se. And that's kind of where naturally, right? We were talking about it yesterday. Nico Hoerner, okay? I saw a rumor out there. I don't think it's by any means true, but if the Red Sox were willing to give up those young pitchers for that 1 year of Nico Hoerner, would the Cubs do it? I'm not sure where these guys are ranked. MLB top 100 prospects here, actually. Let's actually just take a look here. I can show you guys. I remember their top 30 by team here. Sorry about this, but there's a couple of names that were thrown out there for the Cubs, and I don't think it was Franklin Arias, but I don't want to say Peyton Tolt. Maybe they were throwing Peyton Tolt, but Connolly Early was the other guy that I was seeing. So, look, it's a Cespedes. But I think they were throwing out one of these two pitchers as well. Would that be a player that interests you? A young left-handed, potential stud to land Nico Hoerner? In the interim, it's an excellent move for the Cubs in the sense, ladies and gentlemen, we have no intention of re-signing Nico Hoerner. But if there is an intention to re-sign Nico Hoerner, it's not even worth it. And again, I generally think it's not worth it as well, ladies and gentlemen. So please don't get it twisted. But I understand the fundamental mechanical swap for a player on a 1-year deal for a top 100 prospect in baseball. I understand the fundamental swap. I genuinely think, though, that Nico Hoerner is such a unique case in this sense, right? Because he is a second baseman, but he is naturally born a shortstop. He hits so well for average, and again, he's just one of the faces of this franchise, and it's just got to be treated with that kind of respect and audacity in that sense. So again, I don't think the Cubs are trading him, but hey guys, it's January 14th. We're all waiting. We're all waiting for those pitchers and catchers to report. So I'm just reading the tea leaves, and I'm trying to really gauge where people are at in a sense. The major war on Twitter, if you don't know, is Giants fans inserting Nico Hoerner into their lineup, and then Cubs fans inserting Logan Webb into their starting rotation, and then each fan base getting mad at each other for just assuming those guys are traded for each other. It's pretty funny, actually, honestly. So that is going to do it for today's edition, ladies and gentlemen. Another quick thing I did hear about Nico Hoerner is if he were to be traded, I think the Mariners were a destination just because of their pitching. So I think if Nico was to be traded, they would be trying to get some young pitching in return, which totally makes sense. So before we just head out, I wanted to drop that note. So I hope you all have an absolutely fantastic rest of your Thursday. Now, remember, tomorrow is Viewer Comment Friday, so drop your comments down below. Any question about anything, ask me what your thoughts are, share your thoughts. I appreciate every single one of you. We will talk to you in the next one. Peace.